Good morning. I am speaking to you this morning from Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday was 72 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. It was just absolutely marvelous. And today looks like it may be the same thing once again. So here I am, and I want to pray that God would bless you, that God would reveal himself to you by touching your life today. Let's read from Matthew chapter 8. When Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Immediately he was cleansed of his leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you don't tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them." May God bless this reading and this hearing of his word. There's a number of things here. Jesus and his disciples are just coming down off the mountainside where he has taught them the Sermon on the Mount. And as they're coming down, a leper comes running up to him. Now, that's strange in and of itself, because in Israel those days, a leper had to stay 6 feet away from anybody. And so here's this crowd surrounding Jesus as he's coming down the mountainside. They're following him, and Jesus the man with leprosy rushes right up to Jesus. Not keeping the law of staying 6 feet away, that crowd could have stoned him to death right on the spot. Legally, they could have done that. But he runs up to Jesus. He doesn't make any demand necessarily. He simply says, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." See, he knew what Jesus could do. He knew what Jesus could do. And he wanted it to be in the will of God. If you're willing, if it's your will, you can cleanse me. The man knew he could, but the man knew it had to be in God's will. And then listen to what Jesus does. The very first thing he does, he reaches out and he touches the leper. The leper is the untouchable. The leper represents that which society has excluded and says, you cannot come around because you might affect us. And so they're in leprosy colonies. They have to walk around with a bell, ringing that bell, shouting, "Unclean, unclean," so that people will know to stay away from them and them to stay away from people. And here this man comes running up to Jesus. You can, if it's your will. And Jesus touches him. He touches the untouchable. He does the unthinkable to all these people who have been taught this all their life. Jesus touches him. At one time or another, we all need the touch of Jesus. We need the touch that can cleanse us and make us whole when that needs to happen. We need the touch that can bring healing to our lives. We need the touch that can bring peace in our lives. We simply need the touch and the presence of Christ to let us know that he's still there and will always be there. So before Jesus does anything else, he touches the man. And upon touching the man, Jesus then says, "I am willing. I am willing. to heal you. I am willing to make you whole. I am willing. Here, yes, this is specifically to this man. But I think when we read it properly, we're also hearing very much the nature of God. God's nature is his willingness to be involved in his children's life. Not just for a touch of healing, but for all that we need. God is willing to reach out and to touch our lives. And then he said, be clean. Just matter of fact, be clean. And it said immediately the leprosy was gone. Immediately the leprosy was gone. And then Jesus told the man, says, don't go screaming and hollering and shouting this to everybody. You go to the priest. You go to the temple, to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded be offered for this. And then he says it calls, why? It's a testimony to them. The gifts, the commands of God. Go offer a gift that is a testimony to them and what they are. You know, sometimes we don't understand them, but you know what? The gifts of God, the commands of God are just for us and to make our lives better. So go. Go knowing that God can and that God is willing. Amen.